Hello everyone, this is Art and welcome to my first video. I've decided to make a YouTube channel where I can share my art and the origins of what I draw, which will mostly be mythological creatures. Before I start this video, I'd just like to say a few things and clarify that what I'm doing is Photoshop, and for those of you who don't know, it's basically where I find a photo of something, for example a skull, and I warp them and mix them together to make a cohesive art piece. Another thing that I would just like to say is shout out to Subjectively, Jess Jackdaw and Benny Productions for inspiring me to make this YouTube channel. A link to their channels will be in the description below. This video does contain some disturbing things considering this is the myth of the Wendigo, so if you don't like these things then I recommend you click off the video. But with that out of the way, let's get on with the video. The Wendigo is a creature that is portrayed in many different ways, so I will try to cover the most famous in this video. The story of the Wendigo originated in Algonquian First Nation tribes, which are the Canadian Indians which lived in the east of Canada and were first discovered by European explorers and colonialists in the 15th century. In traditional Canadian Indian folklore, the Wendigo was described as one of two things, a monster and a cannibalist. But either way, Basil H. Johnston, from an Ojibwe teacher and scholar from Ontario, describes the Wendigo and captures its most dominating features in this quote. The Wendigo was gaunt to the point of emaciation, and its desiccated skin pulled tightly over its bones. With its bones pushed out against its skin, its complexion of ash-grey death, and its eyes pushed back deep into their sockets. The Wendigo looked like a gaunt skeleton recently disintegrated from the grave. What lips it had were tattered and bloody, unclean and suffering from the separation of the flesh, and the Wendigo gave off a strange and eerie odor of decay and decomposition, of death and corruption." End quote. According to the legend, in order to turn into a Wendigo, there are several ways, one being in which a person turns into cannibalism in order to survive. This happened to tribes and explorers whenever the harsh winds of winter chased off the animals and the hunters of the village turned up with no food, or the explorers were trapped in a cave or tent, seeking salvation from the common snowstorms. The people who managed to survive all of this torture sometimes subdued the urge to eat their fallen brethren in order to survive winter. Another way one can turn into a Wendigo is if they display extreme acts of gluttony, greed, and then the spirit of the Wendigo will come and possess their body indefinitely. This was often used as a tool to scare children into being good. But when the European colonized eastern Canada and heard wind of this Wendigo, they deemed it the Wendigo psychosis. This is what is more commonly known as, considering it was created by American colonists. This was later proved false, however, by modern technologies and methods. The Wendigo psychosis is considered an endemic psychiatric disorder, which means an illness referring to the mental health that is located and kept within a certain region or area. This disorder first originated in 1960 in the Algonquian tribe, where the first 70 cases of this newfound disease came upon. The cause of this psychosis is found to have usually come from things like famine and chronic loneliness. The Wendigo psychosis had not spread that far, therefore not being as famous as the Spanish flu and the Black Plague. However, this does not mean it didn't spread. This disorder spread mostly in tribes neighboring or close to Algonquian tribes, for example, the northern Ojibwe tribes and Cree tribes. Symptoms of this dysfunction vary, but studies show that there seems to be two variations of the disease. One, a non-dangerous apathy and inactivity, and the latter, a very dangerous version with active brutality and cannibalism. The first stage is anorexia, which scientists may think is the prodrome to cannibalism. The second stage consists of insomnia, fear, and panic attacks. Nutrients such as vitamin B, protein, ascorbic acid, and fats start to get cut down. Fats in the form of headaches. Low blood sugar causes anxiety, depressive episodes, and neurosis, and in extreme cases, madness. Other symptoms include hallucinations, more severe anorexia, and finally, taste in human flesh. Fats in the form of headaches. Low blood sugar causes anxiety, depressive episodes, and neurosis, and in extreme cases, madness. Other symptoms include hallucinations, more severe anorexia, and finally, taste in human flesh. And that's the Wendigo, a bit gruesome but also very interesting. Forgive me if the audio is bad and if my voice isn't the clearest. This is my first time making a YouTube video, so I'm a bit nervous. But if you enjoyed, please hit the like button and subscribe for more drawings and lore of mythological animals. I'll also start doing some animations, and I'll see you next time.